All right, guys, welcome back to, I think this is what, like the 4th week for Triple H Homestead's Plots and Pots series, where I'm covering a lot of the dirt and playing in the dirt. But this week we're going to Alamance County, and we're going to talk about Blanche Taylor Moore, who is considered the Black Widow of North Carolina. But before we do that, and I dive into the story, I'm going to tackle some roses for this week's project, and I'll bring you in close in just a second. But this first one that I have here is your typical knockout rose. Pretty much everybody has these. You can get them Lowe's, Home Depot, anywhere. But this is a standard form. I don't know if you can see it from the camera right there, but it is trained into a tree. So whenever you see things, the standard form, it is tree form. So what I'm going to do on these, I have this one, a Julia Child rose, and then a Mr. Lincoln. And then maybe I might do the Colette rose. Not really sure, but we'll see. But basically, prune them up, make them look good, and then I'll show you in just a second. But from here, I'm going to take care of what is considered like some brown spot, and then we got some scorching on here. But basically, brown spot is just a fungal disease that sometimes roses get. It's very common. It just comes from a lot, I think, being here in the South, just dealing with humidity. But basically, you just use your pruners, you go in, cut out what is affected, try to open up the canopy on the inside of the rose a little bit so you can have a little bit more air. And technically, when I switch from this one to another one, I should be cleaning them with some alcohol wipes. I probably need to go inside and get some. Do I always do that? No. Should I? Yes. As should you. But basically, you just go in, make the cuts that you need, and you need to bag these and toss them. Don't put them in your compost, because it will, you know, if you use that compost later for any other yard work activities or yard work, that fungus will still spread if you use that compost. So I'm probably just going to burn mine, to be honest with you. But yeah, so that's what we're going to get done for this week's episode, and I'll bring you guys along. All right, thanks. Okay, so just continuing along. This one isn't that bad, but of course it does have some bleaching in with it. There could be a little bit of distress, probably need a little bit more water, but I'm just going to use the clippers, take care of these, and of course take care of this whole canopy, bring it back into a nice topiary style. But that's really all the knockout rose is going to need. So she will be relatively quick. Now let's travel to where my Julia Rose or Julia Child rose is. And what's funny is that she's supposed to be the least problematic of all of them, but she's not. Okay, in all honesty, she doesn't look that bad, but let me get you in a little bit closer. We get into right here, you can definitely see like the black spot, and then back there, it's an issue. See, like right in there. So we'll just come in, prune these off, trim them back, take off some of these old spent blooms. But she is gorgeous, and I think we might have, let's see if I can get you in there, a little bumblebee. Look how sweet and precious that is. So we won't touch that one. We'll let him sleep. But the other ones, we'll go ahead and trim those back, and I will try my best to leave him alone. And then the other thing is, for this one especially, all of the leaves that are down there, we need to rake those up and put them away, so that way we can help get rid of that black spot as well. All right, so this is Mr. Lincoln, and he is by far my favorite. I took care of him not too long ago, but as you can see, he's got some little wild canes. So basically, we're just going to double check him for black spot, trim back those canes. But if this camera had smell-o-vision, oh my word, it smells delicious. And these are some old spent blooms, but they're still gorgeous. But look at that one right there. Absolutely gorgeous. All roses are. Everybody has their own favorites. I think Mr. Lincoln is probably one of my favorites. He just gets a little wild and woolly. I believe his original height, width and height is like 4 feet wide by upwards of like 7 to 8 feet. I try to keep it a little contained because it could be a little too much for this bed, but that's what we're going to do with Mr. Lincoln, so he'll be pretty easy. Okay, so let's get started with this week's story. So this week is about Blanche Taylor Moore. She's considered the Black Widow of the Carolinas. And the reason why I say that is because allegedly, let's say allegedly, they believed at one time that she had upwards of possibly 22 victims. I'll get into more of that later, but she had quite a number on her. So she was born, I don't remember the year, and honestly, I can really freaking care less of when she was born. But her dad, P.D. Kaiser, he was a preacher. So here we go. We got a preacher's kid. And she, I believe, made some statements that her daddy did some things that you weren't supposed to do with children or with kids, if you catch what I'm saying. So of course, that's never good. It's trash. But she, you know, he was a fire brimstone type preacher. And she decided later on in life, she wanted to get married. Now, there were some stories that is just falling everywhere. But anyway, there's some stories that she was a little promiscuous when she was younger. I don't know if that came from, you know, what went on with her father, because I don't think it was proven. I think she was just maybe using that as like part of her defense. Sue me if I'm wrong, whatever. So she ended up marrying James Taylor, not the singer, but James Taylor. Now, the entire time that they were married, which wasn't, sorry. Now, the entire time that they were married, apparently, she was seeing other people, so she wasn't the best wife. But she definitely made it seem like she was your typical Southern hospitable woman. I mean, she was being hospitable, all right. But, so she lived in Alamance County with James, and if I'm trying to remember correctly, but he died of a heart attack not too long into the marriage, maybe a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, I don't know. And you know, the whole entire time that she was with him, she was also working at Kroger in Burlington. But she worked there, and she was there for quite some time. And she started as a cashier, and she worked her way up to like a lead cashier or whatever. The stories that were going around about her and Kroger was that she was diddling everybody. People that worked in the meat department, like all departments, she worked her way up that ladder. But assistant managers, she didn't care. During that time, she meets another gentleman before her husband is dead, and his last name is Reed. I believe it is Dwight Reed. No, Dwight was the preacher. Raymond Reed was the next lucky contestant on Who Can She Kill with Arsenic? So she meets him while she is a cashier. He says she's lovely. You know, he's infatuated by her. But of course, that we know of, nothing happened until her first husband, Raymond, died. death certificate, I believe, says that he did die of a heart attack. It wouldn't be until later that they realized that the amount of arsenic in his body when he was exhumed was 20 times the amount that had ever been recorded, I believe. So he had that going for him. When he died, she started seeing Raymond, boyfriend, and it appeared that he also almost instantly started getting sick. Well, when he got sick, he was in the hospital. She was bringing him sweet treats, bringing him food. I think she was bringing him milkshakes as well. So she was literally poisoning this man in the hospital while he's in there to be treated. And for some reason, I don't know why they didn't run the damn tests that they needed to run to prove that he was being poisoned, and poisoned in the freaking hospital. Make it make sense, people. Well, poor Mr. Reed ends up passing away. And like she had done in the past, she already had another dude lined up. And this was the preacher, Mr. Reverend Dwight Moore. I don't know the name of the church that he was a pastor of, and quite frankly, I really don't care. But the entire time that she was bringing Raymond, his stuff, into the hospital, the preacher was sitting outside in the car. She would not allow him to come in. Oh, the other thing I forgot to tell you. Oh, we got a Japanese beetle. That's another reason why some of my leaves look like crap, is because these little buttholes get on there and they start to feed, and they turn your leaves. They look like lace, like they would just eat away at it. Okay, so while she was working at Kroger and she had all those rendezvous or whatever you want to call them going on, there was one gentleman, I don't know his name, I can't remember his name, but the story is funny. She ended up suing Kroger for like harassment, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say it because I don't want to freaking censor it, but she sued the company for harassment, and it was quite a bit of money. Don't know the amount, don't care about the amount, but the gentleman that she said was involved in this, I think at one point maybe they did do the thing, and somehow on this particular day she was able to convince him to come up to one of the offices, and when he got up there, she got him to take his pants and his underwear off. I don't know why, but she grabbed his pants and underwear and like jetted out of the office. So home dude is in there with nothing but a shirt and completely naked from the waist down. He had to call somebody from like the meat department to bring like one of those white smocks so he could put it on and he can leave. His case ended. She got money from Kroger, not the amount that she wanted, but she got money from Kroger. But he had to tell his story. I think he was married. He had to tell his story. He was allowed to retire, but they allowed him to like post-date his stuff or some crap like that so he could get like his benefits and whatnot. But I thought that was freaking ballsy. The balls on that woman. Anyway, so I think this looks okay. It looks better than what it was. Of course, there's always more that I can do, but we are going to move over to Julia Child and finish the story with Mr. Raymond and Mr. Moore, the preacher. Okay, so we will pick it up then. Okay, so now on to Mr. Raymond Reed. He's in the hospital. She is poisoning him while she is seeing Reverend Dwight Moore. She has started going to his church for quite some time, and you know, she did what she normally does and lays on the Southern charm, and starts manipulating that man. That's what I'm gonna call it. She was a manipulator. She had to be, to get all these men to do what she wanted them to do. Wild. So she's in there, she's poisoning him. He ends up dying. She wipes that man's bank account clean. Tells the kids, you know, hey, sorry, he died. But wipes it clean, right? When they do his autopsy, this poor man, he was either at 30 or 60 times the amount of arsenic in his body. I forgot to mention, over there doing the first set of roses, what she was poisoning them with was ant bait. I forget the name of the actual brand, but basically it was like a vial of arsenic and sugar water, and that's what they used to attract the ants. The ants would eat it and die. Arsenic, it's sweet, and then of course with that sugar water, she was mixing it into anything and everything that she made that was, I don't want to say southern, but you know, like all the goodies and stuff to bake. When she would do that, she would, tricky bitch, she would she would separate the food, right? So when she wasn't there, the food that she had made and would put like in almost like Tupperware containers, it would still be poisoned so that Raymond would have food to eat when she wasn't there cooking and taking care of him. Yeah, so she cleaned out his bank account. She moved on to Reverend Moore relatively quickly, got married, and they go on their honeymoon up north somewhere. Well, when they go up north, it starts pretty quickly with Reverend Moore, stomach aches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, just pretty much everything else that her other victims had experienced. And he gets into the hospital, same exact thing. She's bringing him food, she's feeding him in there. The nurses see her feed him. They also saw her feed Raymond. She'll later deny that she ever did that, but she's really in there like taking care of him and stuff. Well, those doctors, was he transferred to another hospital? I feel like the doctors were like, we can't help you here. There's something going on that is, we can't test for it or something like that. So they transferred him to another hospital in the Burlington area, and they ran tests, and instantly it popped up that he was being poisoned. And they could look at the chart and tell that when there were high spikes of that arsenic, she was in or around him feeding him. Then when the levels would drop, she would be nowhere to be found. Put two and two together, people. She ends up getting charged for that. So they arrest her, they're charging her, and then this is when they go to start exhuming bodies or looking into her history. With that, I'm gonna have to go get my kneeling pad. Be right back. So much better. Don't neglect your knees. Okay, where were we? They do the test. They find out she's poisoning him. They arrest her. They bring her up on charges of poisoning, right? Okay, establish that. When they start looking into her, they looked into her dad's death, P.D. Kaiser. They looked at his death, found that he also had arsenic in his system. They looked into her mother-in-law, Ilsa Taylor, from her very first husband. They looked into her death. She also had arsenic in her body. They thought that maybe the arsenic wasn't the main reason why they died, but because they were older in age, but it probably definitely helped speed up the process, right? Okay. There was even an ex-coworker that they looked into that she probably could have killed. So total in all, 22 people were suspected to be her victims, but they did not exhume all the bodies, right? So I believe they exhumed her dad, first husband, her boyfriend, Raymond Reed, They may have exhumed the body of the coworker, and I'm pretty sure they did her mother-in-law as well. Pretty sure. Not certain, pretty sure. Well, that all comes back. She, of course, is guilty of sin, but she, of course, claims that she was never in the hospital feeding them like they said they did. They didn't see me do that. You know, they're mistaken. It wasn't me. Blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And when it come down to it, she's guilty. She was tried, found guilty, sentenced to death penalty. So actively, as of right now, she is the oldest person on death row. I believe she's either 93, 96, old. I think she's struggling with cancer right now, so they don't really know what's going to take her out first. Whether it's going to be the actual, you know, getting the injection, or just letting the old hag die from natural, well, I don't want to say natural causes, but from cancer. The testimony was, what? Oh, crap. Watch out for Miss Julia Child. She'll tear you up. The testimony was a little while. She sat in court acting like she was a meek grandmother. You know, she wouldn't hurt a fly. We all know that's a lie. And when she was convicted, and I don't know if I want to go into this or not. It's kind of nasty. But when she was convicted, she somehow tried to pass off that she had a secret admirer, and he was the one that was poisoning these people. Okay. She even went as far as allegedly submitting, or she wrote letters from this secret admirer that says some really nasty stuff in there, a lot of adult stuff in there. Not something you want to hear grandparents talking about. Okay? If you catch my drift? Nasty. They had to do, it's so disgusting. They had to do handwriting samples, right? Okay. Can't remember the guy's name. But the letters that came to either the lawyer or the parole, to the prison, whatever, they were written in cursive. Blanche wrote in cursive. The secret admirer did not write in cursive, could not write in cursive. So they took handwriting samples from old stuff that she had, compared them, and they concluded that she allegedly wrote these letters to get her out of trouble. I mean, kind of brilliant if it would have worked, but if you're going to write letters that is supposed to be your way out, you need to make sure you're covering your bases and know that this man doesn't write in cursive and he spells words wrong continuously. And here you are writing everything correctly. I swear, newbies. I'm just joking. Anyway, she was found guilty. She's sitting in prison. And that's pretty much it for her. But yeah, it's crazy to think that at the same time that Velma was going through her trial for killing her people with arsenic, this lady was not paying attention to any news coverage or whatever. And about the same time, they overlapped a little bit. Velma was convicted, and Blanche is just like whipping up concoctions in the kitchen and taking people out. So she definitely wasn't paying attention to the current news stories at the time, or else she would have been like, hey, let me be a good person and not do shitty stuff, right? So she's still currently in prison. Whether or not she is executed or whether or not she dies from cancer, we don't know. Okay, the bee's gone, but I'm going to leave that bloom because it's pretty. But other than that, that is pretty much everything for this week's Plots and Pots. I appreciate you guys being here. I do apologize if I rambled a little bit. It's kind of hard to talk and work at the same time because I do talk with my hands quite a bit. But next week, it will be a story, and we're not going to be in North Carolina next week. Next week, we're going to go to Michigan and one of the Great Lakes. Back in 1966, 3 young ladies went to the beach, got on a boat, never came back. I don't believe their bodies were ever found either. But however, if the story that I'm researching and the theory behind it is what I'm seeing, is probably one of the weirdest I have encountered in a very long time. I'm a little disturbed by it, honestly. But hey, it's the 60s. So I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for joining me on this hot, humid Sunday early evening. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Stay curious, stay dirty, and we'll see you then. Bye.